called addition of a permitted use. It's just a separate set of findings for a proposal that has a use that's not listed in the zoning. The findings are based on a specific situation, specific piece of land, specific plan, and calls for attention for compatibility impacts. And eventually gets to the two hearings, P&Z and City Council. Okay, that's from another, that applies to certain zoning districts. That does not apply in employment zoning. This would just be a P&Z. The Planning and Zoning Commission decision would not have to then go to City Council. Some of them are residential zoning districts that are a little more sensitive. That's what that's for. So I didn't see that that was on there. The thing about the APU, you can go ahead, but okay, and there's required findings about compatibility and impacts. So let's go ahead. Go ahead. So here's the issue. Of all the uses listed in the zoning, in the land use code, this falls into a definition of, you see right there, unlimited indoor recreation. Specifically is defined as things such as basketball, gymnasium with basketball courts, doesn't mention volleyball, but there are 30 or more other uses that are listed, and this is actually kind of similar in different ways to many of those uses. So staff is not seeing any problem supporting the addition of a permitted use for this unlimited indoor recreation. And in fact, staff will be putting this on our list of land use code maintenance topics to get this added to the employment district. Just real quick, it allows limited indoor recreation. It allows health clubs. It would allow this if the city was proposing it as a community facility. And there are similar things that could be said about some of the other uses that are permitted in the zone that are similar in their impacts or literally similar in their physical presence. So that's the only issue really at this point that I wanted to point out here. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but just to all be clear with everybody in the room. Other than that, let's see what the applicants want to say about the proposal.
Can I start? Sure. I'll let you jump in really quick, but I think before I start, I'm Angie Nowinski with BHA Design, and we're landscape architects and helping with the planning. We have some things to share about the project, but we're really early in the project process. We haven't submitted formal plans to the city yet at all. We're in a really kind of conceptual design state. So I just want to be sure that that's clear that this is not done. We haven't even submitted our plans yet. So we've done a preliminary design review or conceptual review, and that is all. So we're here really to gather information. So.
It didn't seem to do it.
It was turned off.
Oh.
I just turned it on.
We don't have many slides, so you can hit this.
I can always hit the next button.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. I'm Amanda Hansen. I'm with RB+B Architects, and I'm a project manager and designer there. Angie already introduced herself. Dylan and Gopal are also with RB+B Architects. And so basically this proposed facility is just a 3-court basketball and volleyball venue. People can rent the courts there. Generally, we're thinking that it's a lot of youth and adult leagues that would want to rent the space. And so it's really fulfilling a need that we have in Fort Collins for rentable court space. And so it's a facility that would generally be used weekdays and afternoons and evenings, and most of the day on weekends. It would also include a small weight room for members and offer concessions. Altogether, this facility is right around 40,000 square feet. And yeah, we're a local design team, local developer, and we're just trying to fulfill that need there in the community. Let Angie handle kind of the context and the site design that we're looking at.
Yeah, Clark mentioned this is shown here on the site again. It's the southwest corner of East Prospect and Sharp Point Drive. So across the street to the north is the North Peaks and the Rockies. To immediately to the south is an advanced energy building. And there's a photo down below. We were standing in the middle of that intersection looking toward our site. So this is the undeveloped site there. Go ahead. This, again, it's kind of early concept, but this is our conceptual site plan for the facility. It's a corner lot adjacent to Prospect Road, and so access is really limited for this particular property. We would need to share the access that it currently exists on Sharp Point Drive, that's Advanced Energy's north access point. It was designed, and there's an easement there for us to share an access between this lot and their lot. So that's the plan, that we would use that as our main site access. The building then faces the east. The main entrance there, the entry plaza is at the northeast corner of the building. So some parking on the east side that's similar to Advanced Energy's parking, just sort of extending that to the north. We do, in some early discussions with PFA for fire access for the building, would need to also be able to bring a fire lane on the west side of the building, really just for fire access only. So we'll need to work closely with Advanced Energy for sharing their access and the improvements being made, and that's still work ahead of us there. But this is generally the site plan. We'd be retaining a lot of the existing trees along Prospect. There's I think it's a 50-foot landscape buffer there that's already been landscaped for many years. It was really landscaped at the development, and we would be south of that. So there's a group of trees sort of in the middle of the site that would be affected if the building were built here, but that buffer edge along Prospect and Sharp Point would all remain. And I think now we have more slides that are really about the building itself and maybe what that might look like. We can get the sharing going back.
Can everyone, should we check and see if they can see the screen now?
Yeah, let me know if you can see a slide that says building design concept. I apologize, I didn't switch over to the new PowerPoint.
Maybe I should go back to the site plan and let them see that for a minute.
Yeah.
Go back up to the site plan
One more ahead.
once you can see the screen.
There.
Yeah. Yeah, so East Prospect's to the top of the screen, Sharp Point's to the right. The Advanced Energy building you see at the very bottom of the screen, and their parking that exists. And again, the access we would share with them is off of Sharp Point Drive. So that's existing already today. We would just be extending parking from that access to the north. And then you can see the building location. It's kind of a long, narrow building because it's a long, narrow lot. So there's 3 courts, and you can begin to see that a little bit in the footprint of the building. And then again, the fire access that would be required of us on the west side. With the 3 courts, it's a 1-story building technically, but it's a tall 1-story building. So we'll share some of those images of the architecture next.
All right, so I'll speak to RV plus B's design so far. Again, this is really preliminary, but we have a sort of building design concept, and we have several goals that we're trying to focus on with this building's design. The first being having this building provide a face to Prospect and to Sharp Point. So it was really important to us to create this transparency and that connection. Just so, this building wasn't facing away from those streets, and, instead of putting those basketball court masses right along the street, we wanted them to be pushed back so that you can get this kind of personal connection to the building. Next slide, So another goal that we have was to break up the massing. Obviously, we could have shoved all of those basketball courts together and created one gigantic shoebox, but we didn't want to do that. We wanted this building to have character and to fit well in this context. And so we very deliberately separated up those volumes, really focusing on the architectural elements and how they all contribute to this building as a whole. And you can see that we're trying to keep the building scale much shorter on the north side, which is facing Prospect, and then allowing those basketball volumes to be higher on the south end, which is a little bit more appropriate because there's a multi-story building to the south. So it just fits into that context a little bit better. And what you're seeing here on the top left is the entry, same with the bottom image. And then the top right is looking from the northwest, and it's looking towards the potential weight room. So all of those volumes on the north are much shorter and then higher on the south.
Yeah, one point I want to make on that is, we realized early in the project, as you head to town from I-25, you exit in Prospect and head towards the city. There's quite a bit of natural area, and then this would be the first building in a way you almost see as you enter the building, the city. So it's kind of this, it has, I think will have some impact that way. So we felt like that corner view up the north and the east corner of the site was going to be a prime spot, and we wanted to make sure that reads very welcoming, and so that's where we put our most transparent part of the building there as a kind of this corner, accenting that corner, because that's one of the I think as you enter the city, anybody who's going into the city would see that. So we felt like that was a critical gesture we had to make on the way.
Yeah, so these images, they're looking more from the east and from the south. We tried to make this volume seem less large than it actually needs to be to function as a basketball and volleyball venue by sort of inserting it into the topography. So it's a somewhat sunken court scheme where we're just trying to be as conscious as we can about not having this very tall volume. Even though the adjacent buildings are multi-story, we wanted this to be, you know, as subtle as we could make it. And then in terms of materiality, keeping it pretty simple, just trying to focus on durable materials and quality of construction, and choosing materials that will fit well within this context and within this existing building development. And so we're looking at really just sort of a warm material for the areas that see a lot of that pedestrian activity. And then precast concrete for the taller gym spaces. And we're really interested in paying attention to form liners and how we can create a beautiful texture with that concrete. The adjacent buildings actually do have precast concrete with form liner texture on them, so this fits really well within that. Other buildings nearby have masonry, so it's all within the same design language.
Yeah, the bulk of our precast is going to have a southern exposure, so we get a lot of sun. So our thought is use the sun to create the texture and interest in the building rather than a lot of colors and things, but that's our thinking.
And then the other two images on that slide, just showing some of the other materials. Transparency is important, so we have some glass on the north and east side of this building. And then the last one there shows a translucent building, a window system. So really including that just so that we can have really pleasant and even daylight within the gym spaces. And so that will also be apparent on the exterior of the building as well.
I think that would be more noticeable, especially in the evening when the light is coming out of the gymnasium. I think that's where we're trying to show a couple of our renders. Because this place would be really mostly used in the evenings and weekly schedule and then the weekends. So we thought that the presence of the building in the evening would be a critical aspect of this project.
So that's really all we have. So we're open to answering questions if anyone has any.
Yep, feel free to throw your hand up if you've got questions and I can call on you. For the person who is on the phone, I'll just open it up right now and see if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Star 9 to unmute.
Yes, so if you want to unmute on the phone, you can press star 9. All right, I don't see anything. Pat, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask of either the staff or the applicants here tonight?
Well, this is Pat at the Coloradoan. I guess my only question is, who is the developer?
Do you want to stand up?
Sure, look at the,
Pat's a local landowner here who's interested in the development.
The owl.
Yes, we
I
gotcha.
see myself.
hello, he's very tall, plays a lot of basketball.
Yeah, so I guess the theme is, as we were talking before the meeting began, right, a general lack of court space in Fort Collins for sure. As you know, having kids kind of youth sports age, trying to find, you know, places for them to play, or, you know, now I'm a coach school team and a club team, and there's just not enough space, right? Power to Play in Windsor is just completely swamped, right? They're having weekend games from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Every single weekend. And then, you know, if you want to play on the other weekends, you got to go to Wyoming, or, I mean, it's, you know, it's crazy. So obviously demand is high for such activities and facilities are low. So I don't really know anything about the business. So I was just like, I don't know, I guess if people need courts, they should build one.
What's your name?
My name, Jonathan O'Neill.
So yeah, Pat Jonathan's a local
So that's
dad and landowner and interested in trying to fill a need in the city. So that's why, that's what the vision is.
and if you know, have I thought of it more than that? Not a whole lot. I think it'll work out.
Very preliminary stages.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Pat, anything else that you wanted to hear before we go?
Nope, I don't think so. Thanks.
And for the person on the phone, I just want to toss it to you one more time to make sure that you don't have any questions. Again, if you want to raise your hand or unmute yourself, I'm sorry, you can press star 9 on the phone. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put my phone number or my email address in the chat, Pat, unless in case you want to get in touch with me for anything else. Otherwise, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Maybe, are they still there?
Mhm.
Tell them that if they got the letter, they can contact you or me anytime.
Yeah,
In case like the phone didn't work, the star line didn't work, they can contact us anytime and then we can forward them to the architects or whoever.
yep. So if you got the letter on it, should be my contact information. You're always welcome to reach out to me with questions or concerns, and I can get you in touch with any of the folks here tonight to address those.